Good morning, guys. Can you hear me? I think I have a problem with my Zoom application. Just let me know if everything uh, is going well. Um, Welcome back um, to this tutorial session. I hope you are going well. Um, Please feel free to participate. Okay, so let's focus on the tutorial. Okay, so this tutorial focus on external economies or the new external. Basically, you have seen the trade model name as new trade model. Under that new trade model, you will see, or you have seen first, what is external economies, and then I think this week you will see about internal economies within this trade model. So let's see. Let's recap lecture 7. So basically, when we talk about external economies of scale, that means the unit cost falls as in the industry gets larger and markets remain perfectly competitive. Um, Trade may be driven by external economies of scale. There is an incentive to specialize. Basically, there are three sources that when those sources come together, those will create external economies in a given industry. For example, the first source is that industry has access to specialized um, suppliers. That means the cost of production will be reduced. For example, let's think about the Silicon Valley, where most of high-tech industries are located there in USA and the world. When they want to, for example, hire a specialized service, it's easy for a firm to find hire that specialized service. So it's gonna be easy for them in terms of cost. That is good impact. Then another positive or another source that may create strong economies of scale is the labor pool. So in so normally close to those industries that face strong economies of scale, they have access to high skilled workers. Of course, those workers are living close to those areas. So again, this is gonna be easy for that industry, localize, hire high skilled workers. And finally, the third source is related to knowledge. One second. Knowledge spillovers. So of course there is a positive externality when you have a bunch of people who are high skilled or are well trained, and they can share their ideas, the technology, and that will enhance the labor productivity in that industry. Okay. Then you have seen the role to history and action in determining the pattern of international trade that will cause head start advantage. You have seen many examples, and that normally that's true, where, for example, a country that started to produce first For example, in the case of watches, we know um, that Switzerland has a good brands of watches. They they had a head start in producing watches and comparing the rest of the world. Um, then there is a result where in this model where there is free trade when the countries opens to trade, you will see the price may fall below the price before trade or the price is under autarky in all the countries. So one of the most important one of the most important message under this model is the price of the traded good will decrease, benefiting most of the consumers around the world. Finally, with free trade, a country's welfare may increase or decrease. That will benefit from temporary protectionism. So that is we need to confirm case by case if a country will improve the welfare after trade. Okay, and that depends on the context. So this is all for the introduction. Now let's focus on exercise 1. Again, guys, let me know if you want to participate, okay? So we have two countries, China and the USA. They have strong economies in the production of buttons. We have the China's average cost is 36 divided by Q plus 10, and the US average cost is 51 divided by Q plus 10. The demand for buttons is the same in China and the USA, which is 10 minus the price. So in part 1, under autarky, what is the price of button and the quantity produced in China? So let's see. So we know the okay, the demand in China for buttons is Q equal to 10 minus or 10 less price. Let's use inverse demand. So we have the price must be equal to 10 minus or less Q. Okay. Now we know that under this new trade model, the price must be equal to average costs. And we know that under autarky, the price of China must be equal to the average cost of China. Okay, so we know the price using the inverse demand in China is 10 minus Q, and the average cost of China is 36 divided by Q plus 10. Okay, so let's solve that. So we have here 10 times Q plus 100 minus Q squared. What's it called? Minus 10 times Q, that must be equal to 36. We can remove 10 times Q. So we have minus Q squared is equal to minus 64. Let's multiply by minus negative. Then we have Q equal to 8. Okay, so that is a quantity that must be produced in China for buttons. Then the price is equal to 10 minus quantity minus 8, which is 2. So we know that Chinese price for buttons is 2. Okay, so that is part 1. Now, change that. Okay, so under autarky, what is the price of button and the quantity produced in USA? So let's do the same for USA that we have done for China. So now for USA, we know that they have the same they have the same demand for buttons in USA. So we know that the inverse price or the inverse demand, sorry, is 10 minus Q. That must be equal to the average cost in USA. So remember, we are under autarky. That is 51 divided by Q plus 10. Okay. Now let's solve that. So we know that we want to have 100 minus Q squared must be equal to 51. Okay. So that minus Q squared is equal to 49 minus 49. Let's multiply by the negative sign. So we're gonna have Q squared must be equal to 49 and Q must be equal to 7. And the price in USA for bottom should be equal to 10 minus 7 is 3. Okay, so those are the values on the autarky for USA. Now, part 3, under free trade, which country will produce buttons? What will be the quantity produced and the price? Okay, so in that case, so let's see the prices under autarky for China and USA. Okay, and let's check which country has the lowest average cost. So let's, for part 3, let's compare first the average cost of China and the average cost of USA. So we know that average cost of China is equal to 36 divided by Q plus 10. And we know that that is lower than the average cost of USA. Okay. So in that case, we know that China has a cost advantage in producing button. So that's why China will capture all the market. So we'll produce all the buttons to be supplied. So in that case, we need to consider the world demand. Okay, so what is the world demand here? So the world demand is equal to, we know that demand in China is, so let's put world demand is gonna be equal to the demand for buttons in China, which is 10 minus the price, plus the demand for buttons in USA, which is 10 minus the price 2. So the world demand for buttons must be equal to 20 minus 2 times the price. Now let's find the inverse demand. So the inverse demand is equal to 20 minus QW. So the inverse demand is gonna be 10 minus, let's put Q, okay? That is gonna be the world demand now divided by 2, okay? So that is the inverse demand for the world, and that must be equal. So we know the price on the free trade must be equal to the average cost of the country that is producing exclusively buttons. In that case, is the average cost of China. So we know that we have 10 minus Q divided by 2 must be equal to the average cost of China, which is 36 divided by Q plus 10. Okay. Now let's multiply by 2 everything. So we're gonna have 20 minus Q. That must be equal to 72 divided by Q plus 10. Okay, let's multiply Q plus 10 times 20 minus Q. So we're gonna have 20 minus Q times Q plus 10 is Q second. Okay, that is equal to 72. And we have 20 times Q. Okay, then plus 200 minus Q square minus 10 times Q must be equal to 72. Then let's put minus Q squared there. And then we have plus 10 times Q. And then we have plus 200 minus 72. That is minus, sorry, plus 128. That must be equal to 0. Okay. Now let's multiply that by the negative sign. Okay. So we have Q square minus 10 times Q minus 128. That must be equal 0. We have a quadratic function. Let's use the quadratic formula to find the optimal Q. Okay. So using the quadratic formula, let's refresh the quadratic formula, which is Q is going to be equal to minus B plus minus square root of B squared minus 4 times AC divided by 2 times A, where A is equal to 1, B is equal to minus 10, and C is equal to minus 128. Okay, then let's solve that. So let's replace that. We're gonna have 10 here plus minus 10 minus 10 squared is 100. Then we're gonna have minus 4 times 1 and minus times minus 128. That is gonna be plus 512, and that must be divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. So we're gonna have Q is gonna be now equal to 5 plus minus 612 divided by 4 by 2, sorry. So we can uh, decompose that 512, which is equal to 36 times 17. 1 second. Okay, so we know that Q is equal to 5 plus minus, that is 36 times 17 divided by 2. Okay, so let's put here. So we have Q now is equal to 5 plus minus 6 square root of 17 divided by 2. So Q could be 5 plus minus 3 square root of 17. If we use a negative sign, we're going to have a negative Q. So we need to use only the positive value. So in that case, Q is equal to 5 plus 3 square root of 17. And that is approximately equal to 17.37. Okay. Now let's find the price. So the price is equal to, according to the inverse demand function, is 10 minus Q divided by 2. So we know that, we know that we have 10 minus 17.37 divided by 2, that is approximately 1.32. Okay, so that is the price. What is the question here? So which country will produce bottom? China. What will be the quantity produced and the price? So we already calculated the quantity, which is 17.37, and the price 1.32. Okay, so that is part 3. Now, part 4, or question 4. Suppose the USA has a head start in the world market. Would China be able to enter the market? So let's see. So if USA started to produce first, and we need to consider the average cost of USA and the world inverse demand in order to find the optimal quantity and the price. Okay, so let's solve that. So question 4. Okay, the inverse demand is equal to the world inverse demand is equal to 10 minus Q divided by 2. Okay. And that must be equal to the average cost of USA, which is 51 divided by Q plus 10. Okay. So now let's apply the same steps, or let's follow the same steps than before. So we're gonna have we're gonna multiply by 2, 20 minus Q is equal to 102 divided by Q plus 10. Then when we multiply 20 minus Q times Q plus 10, that is equal to let's put here is let's solve. So we have 20 times q plus 200 minus q squared minus 10 times q. That must be equal to 102. So we have here minus q squared plus 10 times q. Okay. We have plus 200 minus 102, which is plus 98. That must be equal to 0. So let's use a quadratic formula. We know that before that, let's multiply by negative sign. So we have q squared minus 10 times q. Okay, minus 98 is equal to 0. So where a is equal to 1, b is equal to minus 10, and c is equal to minus 98. So using the quadratic formula, we know that q must be equal to minus 10, which is 10, okay, plus minus square, which is minus 10 square, which is 100, minus 4 times 1, and times minus 98, that is equal to 392. All must be divided by 2. Okay. Then we have q 10 plus minus divided by 2 square root of 292. Okay. So then we have 5 plus minus, and we can divide this can be expressed as 4 times 123. So we're gonna have 4 times 123 divided by 2. Then we have 5 plus minus 123, because we already take the number 4 is 2 divided by 2, 2 is 1. Then that is q. We want to calculate the square root of 123. Is, we know that is 11.09, is larger than 5. So we're not going to use a negative sign because quantity must be positive. So we're going to use only positive value, the sum. So we have q should be equal to 5 plus square root of 123, which approximately that is equal to 16.09. Okay. While the price, which must be equal to 10 minus q divided by 2, and the price is going to be equal approximately to 1.95. Okay. Okay. So then those are the quantity and the price. We need to answer that next question, which is, would China be able to enter the market? So basically, China may not be able to enter the market, as the entry average cost is currently producing 0. So if we want to compare Okay, so the situation is, okay, the current situation is that USA has started to produce first before than China, and where its price of production now, or price of unit per button is 1.95. Okay, and what happened if China want to compete against USA? But we know that China is not producing buttons. So what happened in that case? So for China, we know the quantity of production for button is zero. What is the average cost for in that case? We know the average cost in China is 36 divided by Q plus 10. We know the Q is zero, so we're gonna have 36 divided by 10. We divide that, it's gonna be 3.6. So at that point, the average cost of producing button in China is 3.6. So it's larger than the cost of production in USA. So that's why China cannot enter to compete against USA in that case. Okay, guys, that is how you can compare. What happened with my mouse? 1 second. Okay, okay, that is exercise 2. Oh, sorry, exercise 1. And let's move towards exercise 2. Okay. So here in period 1, the average cost in the USA button industry is 51 divided by Q plus 10, and the domestic demand in the USA and China is the same and equal to Q equal 5 minus the price divided by 2, and China does not produce button in period 1. So first, the first part is on the trade. What will be the quantity produced in the USA and the price? How much will be consumed in each country? So let's see. Okay, question 1. We are under the period 1. Period 1, and the period 1 USA is producing. Okay, so we need to use the average cost of USA, which is 51 divided by Q plus 10. Okay, and we need to use the world demand. So the world demand is gonna include demand in China and USA for buttons. So we have minus 5 plus price divided by 2 plus 5 less price divided by 2. That must be equal to 10 minus price, so the inverse demand is equal to 10 minus Q. So that's for the world. Okay. So if we know that USA is producing, we know under free trade, the price must be equal to the average cost. So we know 10 minus Q must be equal to 51 divided by Q plus 10. We know that, so we know that Q square minus Q square plus 100 must be equal to 51. Okay, and so we are able to find the the level of production there. where we have minus q squared equal to minus 49. Q squared is equal to 49. Q is equal to 7. And the price is equal to 3. 10 minus 7. So that is a situation where USA is producing bottoms in the period 1. Okay. Then, then we need to see how much will be consumed in each country. So let's see. So we know that for USA and China, the demand is gonna be equal to Q equal to 5 minus the price, 3 divided by 2. It's gonna be 3.5. The same is for China. We're gonna have 3.5. So, or we can take all the produced quantity and divide by 2, and we're gonna have the level of consumption in USA and China. Okay, it's gonna be 3.5 of bottles in USA and China. Then in period 2, China's bottle industry may enter the market at an average cost of 36 divided by Q plus 10. Now, the average cost of the USA industry has changed due to the total quantity produced in period 1. Q1 is the average cost 51 minus 2 times Q1 divided by Q plus 10. The domestic USA and China demand is the same as in period 1. And in the second question, under free trade, will the China bottle industry be able to enter the market? Why or why not? What will be the quantity produced in each country and the price? How much will be consumed in each country? So let's see. So let's see what happened with let's compare the average cost in China and USA. So we know that is 36 divided by Q plus 10, okay? And the average cost in USA for this is the period 2. The average cost of USA is equal to 51 minus 2 times Q1. Q1, we know that what is the level of production in the period 1, 7. So we have 2 times 7. So we need to use that one divided by Q plus 10. So the average cost, the new average cost in USA is equal to 51 minus 14. Okay. That is a 37 divided by Q plus 10. Okay. So in that case, we know that which country has the highest average cost under this ECON period. We know that USA has the highest average cost, while China has the lowest average cost. So in that case, China should capture all the market. So in other words, China will serve the entire market. So in that case, we need to use the Chinese average cost curve, average cost function. In that case, that must be equal to the price in the world. Okay. We know that we have 36 divided by Q plus 10. That must be equal to the inverse demand, which is 10 minus Q. Okay, and then let's solve that. So we're gonna have minus Q squared must be equal to 100 minus 36, which is minus 64. So you will see that Q must be equal to 8, and the price must be equal to 2. Okay, so those are the quantity and the price that we need to find, and then the level of consumption in USA is gonna be 8 divided by 2 for this consumption, and for China is gonna be 4 as well. So as you can see, thanks to China is more productive, people can consume more units of photons than in the case where USA is the only producer of photons. Okay. So finally, in part 3, if the USA average cost in period 2 is instead, we have a new average cost for USA, which is 51 minus 3 times Q1 divided by Q plus 10. Will China produce any photons in period 2? So let's see. I didn't put these 2 and 3. So let's see what is the new average cost for USA, which is 51 times, minus 3 times Q1, where Q1 is equal to 7. Okay. Divided by 10 plus Q. Sorry, Q plus 10. The same, but I'm gonna put the same over there. Q plus 10. Okay. So let's replace 7 there. And we have 51 minus 21. 3 times 7 is 21. We have 30 divided by Q plus 10. So if we want to compare that against the Chinese average cost, so we know that is 36 divided by Q plus 10. So here, in that case, USA has the lowest average cost. So in China, in this case, USA should serve entirely the market. So in that case, we are going to use the average cost of USA must be equal to the price. So we have 30 divided by Q plus 10 divided by Q, the 10 minus Q. Okay, so we know that 30 must be equal to minus Q squared plus 100. So we want to have Q squared is equal to 70, and Q should be equal to let's put square root of 70, which approximately that is 8.37. Okay, and the price is 10 minus the minus Q, which is 10 minus 8.37, which approximately is 1.63. Okay, and what is the consumption in each country? The consumption in USA and China is 8.37 divided by 2, 4.185, 4.185 for China as well. Okay, so that is the answer for that part. I think okay, we have concluded a tutorial for tutorial 7 because exercise 3 it should be good if you read the articles and then you will see the opposing positions in terms of related to infant industries. Um, I think that's why you can do it by yourself. Thank you for coming. Um, Enjoy the rest of your week. Okay, thank you. Bye.